Welcome again from the temple space in what's left of our establishment.
Yes, it's
as
not
we're
very
on our way
fancy.
out the door.
It's not very fancy today. There's no banners and bits and pieces because we're off to Bali. It's going to be very exciting. Sunshine.
Yeah, can't wait. My post has caused a little bit of a stir. It's some
Yeah.
good things and some bad things. I knew it would.
Yeah.
And I knew it wouldn't go down greatly in some circles, so I thought it'd be nice if we could have a little chat about it and get a woman's point of view.
Said woman.
And possibly save me from being lynched as well. Or
I'll do
help
my-
get me lynched. It's up to you at this point.
Yeah,
It can all go down or uphill from here.
I'll do my best. How's that?
Anyway, there's been a few questions around my post, which was about the... it was a bit tongue-in-cheek and sarcastic, which I tend to be, which I do appreciate that. Sometimes doesn't go down very well, but that's my way of trying to keep it light-hearted to a certain extent. And I titled it "The Rise of the Alpha She-Devil: Let's actually talk about violence." I can't even remember what I wrote. A lot of stuff. And I did go over it and over it for a couple of hours, trying to clear it out a bit so it wasn't too offensive, but as I want to do, it hit a spot. There's been a few comments. Have you got anything you'd like to say, you've read it?
I've read it. I have.
What's your thoughts? Careful what you say now, Jodie. No, go on.
No syringes full of blood. Okay, so I feel with this whole topic that's going on, and it's risen, I guess, from this whole thing of women having to be careful where they go, and comes back to the whole thing of she asked for it. You know, if someone's dressed in a short skirt, then she asks for the provocation of being leered at or spoken at indirectly by a man and those kind of things, and I don't agree with that at all. I don't think anyone should be abused mentally, physically, sexually. I don't agree, right? So straight up, I don't agree. It shouldn't be either, whether it's a woman or a man. They shouldn't be subjected to that kind of stuff. But I think what is happening is that for a period of time, women were oppressed and felt suppressed by the masculine and by the male. And at a certain level, and again, this is only my opinion, we got to a place where we wanted to have equality, which is very important, and we should be equal. But I think it's gone a bit too far, and we seem to be wanting to punish the man or the masculine for something that happened a long time ago. Like, if we're prepared to say sorry to the Aboriginals for stuff that happened a long time ago, then let's just let it go, because it's just becoming too far, I think.
So, using that as an analogy, I can't really agree with, actually, because nowadays we don't abuse our Aboriginals.
No.
But women are still being abused by men.
Yes.
I totally get it. It's like, I know that's going on. In fact, interestingly today, Adrian Bailey is going down he's the one who killed Jill Meagher. You know, this shit's going on out there. But what I was getting at in my post is something that I've been going through recently, and I started the post with it saying that there's 3 or 4 alpha women that I've had run-ins with this year because I've dared to speak up about something, and I keep getting hit with the same thing to make me be quiet, almost, which is, you're a man, you don't understand. And I have difficulty with that because I've had lots of violence. I get this, and this is one of the points someone made, which was, as a man, it doesn't affect me as much as I think. Which I kind of go, doesn't it? Because firstly, men are being told that we're rapists and causing all these problems, so we're immediately, it's our sex of the species that is the problem. So yes, it does affect me massively. But then what I'm actually speaking up against in my post is areas where I'm seeing women are in charge. The conscious world, it's women run businesses, and it's competitive, and it's not improved. It's not improved at all. The patriarchal overlord has been replaced by the matriarchal overlord. And this is the point I'm trying to make, but the trouble I keep running into is the same similar arguments from people. Don't add to the problem by making it about men again. And it's like, well, when do I get to speak? So I took this risk of creating an incendiary situation and pissing off the women, because I need to speak about something that I do understand a lot about, and that is violence, male aggressiveness, the whole subject. And I don't understand it from a woman's perspective, but I have been felt up, I've been touched up, I've been abused as a child, all these things. So I know the experience. I don't get it every day. I'm not abused in the workplace, but it's something in here goes, this is going wrong. There's something going wrong from the women's side with the conversation. I'm taking over a bit there though.
No, that's all right. I agree with you. I think the thing is that unfortunately there are probably people out there that are going through this every day, like somebody in a work environment that is, and it would be shit. It would. Like there's no other way of looking at that. That would be really, really bad. But I guess the thing is that we can't just blanket it all. That's what I was trying to say with the, I guess, the Aboriginal comment, is you can't just go, well, it's all things, you know, it's all encompassing. It can't be just one person's fault because something happened at some point, then now everything is carried forward. And I believe what you're saying about the experience with the conscious women. We had a post a while ago, which I actually wrote, which was an experience where I'd been to a meeting with somebody and you were there, and I was, she was speaking and she'd stopped speaking, and then as soon as I went to speak, she just put up her hand and said, I'm not finished, and just totally shut me down. And we had a lot of time in the beginning of running the business where people thought that I was... Other women, there were other women in the industry that thought that I was, you know, the person that went and fetched the coffee, and you know, could I go and do that and hurry up? Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it was odd.
And these were women who were functioning in this role of being heart-centered and heart-focused and conscious. And I think this is, I think that's where you're coming from.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And also, when I was running my IT business, the women in charge of things had stepped into masculine roles, and it's all, I can't remember her name, Alison Armstrong I think it is, has really figured this out with the adrenal fatigue stuff, and I don't want to go down that road, but just the aggressiveness of alpha women who've stepped into masculine roles is scary as fuck. And I don't know how to deal with it, because all the arguments that are used, and I talk about this in the post, emotional terrorism, all the techniques, and the art of war, which is a very clever manuscript about how to win wars. And one of the main things they say is, Sun Tzu says in it, is all warfare is based on deception. So you want to appear to be very, very nice while sticking the knife in. And that's the emotional terrorism technique. And what I want to talk about is how that's involved in this interplay. And that was the idea of the post, because I've been hit with it this year quite a few times, and I can't just go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just a man, do it again, because I deserve it. We're men. We are the problem. And it's not. There's something else is going on, and I'm trying to get to it. And I'm pissing people off. And that's okay. That's all right. Because you'll protect me.
I will. I think the other thing too is like the fairer sex or the weaker sex, like these kind of things. It's, again, go back to that scenario we were talking about a moment ago about having a business meeting. Where is the point where it's equal? Like, this is what we're going for, women. We want equality. So then why have we decided that we want to become more than to try and, it's almost like...
Is there equality amongst the women?
No, definitely not. I mean, you saw that at the last event that we kind of had, but it's almost like those swinging things, you know, the little things. It's like we were over here so far, and now we've gone right over here, instead of coming back to this balanced place. And what level is there where a man and a woman can be in a business or have a business meeting and it can be seen as an equal thing? It's not about one-upmanship. And then, as we were talking about I'm in a waffle, sorry. That whole, the women are stepping up and taking that masculine role. There's nothing wrong with being masculine as a woman. There's nothing wrong. It's the doing energy. It's the thing you need to have to get things happening and make decisions and all those things. But when we come from a place of using it to command and control, that's
and
when
to overrule men speaking.
Yeah, and
but
other women.
There's something, yeah.
There's something wrong there.
There's another comment which was it was almost when it takes the power away from women speaking out, adds to the equality. So I get confused by some of the arguments used, and it doesn't help that it's on Facebook because, as we know, the written word only really accounts for 7% of communication, and mine can sound particularly feisty. And understand why the women that I've been referring to as alphas are attempting to fight back against the daily struggle. I get that, you know, as a woman I can see how there's a lot of shitty men out, of course not swearing, a lot of awkward, difficult men out there, uneducated, overtly sexual, touchy-feely, in the street, on the tram, on the buses. It's wrong, it's completely wrong. It's been going on forever and I get that. But the alphas I'm referring to in there are not using this argument to fight back. They're using this argument to overrule men and overpower men in arguments, and just it's a manipulation technique. And this is what I'm kind of going, hang on, I'm fine with the basic premise and the argument that there's a big issue out there with men, but what I'm actually seeing is, and I chuck all the women in there who are doing it into alpha she-devils, but I needed to kind of have a little container and go, but there's this section where the women are actually using this to manipulate men. And that's where I'm kind of going, okay, we'll go for it, but that's not going to end up in inequality.
Well, it becomes a justification of behaviour, which then that makes us know better than the men we're accusing, really, because we're doing the same thing. And I think we were talking about this earlier today about, with the conscious, there is this whole thing about sexuality.
Conscious business industry.
Yeah. And there is this whole thing about embracing your sexuality, using your power and all those things. When you strip it right back and you look at things like Quadoshka and shamanic de-armoring, they talk about sexual energy as your power source. And it absolutely is the base chakra stuff that you use every day to kind of, it's not about using it as, well, here I come and I can wield my power. We know as women we can do that, but if we're going to abuse that power, oh, dare I say it, we're going to have trouble. I
see trouble going on already, and it's swinging back the other way. Look at India, where they've been pulling people out of prison, allegedly rapists, not even confirmed, and killing them in the street. And I got in this argument on Facebook about the monster versus victim thing, and I had to give up in the end because I was just getting nowhere with it. But it's questionable who the monster is in a situation like that. I think it's very misunderstood, but the reaction that's happening is also somewhat misunderstood. And I think I've been trying to get at that in some of my posts, and I'm probably going to have to stop doing it. Because it's just annoying people rather than getting the point across.
I think, you know, we're fortunate that we live in Australia, and so we are a place that is able to have a voice. We're not living in Yemen. Like if we lived in Yemen,
Bali.
Yeah, we are going to Bali, but we don't live in Yemen, and so, you know, or a place like that that's kind of where women have absolutely no say and no anything. We're very lucky. You know, can it go further, and can we have more equality? Sure, but what's it going to look like? I guess that's the thing, is we're not both sexes. We are women. We talk about being feminine and soft and nurturing and all of those things, and we are all of those things. So we just maybe need to let go a bit of that whole desire to be everything.
Okay, that's it from us for now. Probably speak again in Bali, hopefully.
We're going to Bali.
All being well.
Yeah, we're going to Bali. Temple Space is leaving.
Yeah, we're relocating.
We are?
For the winter.
Well, we don't know what we're doing, really. We're going global. That's why it says .com on the end of the website. And yeah, we'll see where we end up.
This will be palm trees and plantations and possibly wild monkeys and cobras.
And a hissing thing, snake. Yeah, which I'm afraid of, but he's clearly not.
Anyway, more posts from me soon, kids. I know you love them.